How's it going, guys? Cameron here with Canadian Gamer, coming at you with another video. Now, as most of you guys following the channel, if you've been watching my channel the last couple of months, I've been live streaming a little bit more, dipping my toe in the water. And it's no secret, I live streamed Doom 64 a couple of months ago, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And then I downloaded Quake Remastered on the PS4. And like I mentioned on the channel before, if you sign up an account at Bethesda.net, I know we don't like signing up for this stuff, I get it, but this is actually worth it because when you sign up at Bethesda.net, not only do you get a bunch of extra maps and DLC and expansion packs and mods for Quake, Bethesda actually gives you Quake 64 Remastered included free of charge. So what's interesting about Quake 64 is, if you're aware of the backstory behind Doom 64, Doom 64 was developed by Midway, and they kind of had id Software behind the scenes closely monitoring how Midway was handling the IP, to make sure that it was a game that would live up to the name and not disparage it in any way. So I enjoyed Doom 64. Not only did I enjoy it, I put it right up there as one of my top first-person shooters of all time. So when I played Quake Remastered, I had never played the original Quake before because I talked about it in my review for Quake Remastered, but I never had a PC that was powerful enough back in the day to run it smoothly. And I absolutely enjoyed Quake Remastered. Now, when I jumped into Quake 64, what's interesting about Quake 64 is it was also developed by Midway. And you can tell because when you play this game, you're going to notice right off the bat, it's got very similar colored lighting, similar to Doom 64. And you've also got different music composed by Aubrey Hodges. And the music is really good. Trent Reznor, it's no secret, he did the original soundtrack for Quake. And while there's nothing wrong with the soundtrack that Reznor did, I actually find Aubrey Hodges' soundtrack in Quake and Quake 64 is actually better than the Trent Reznor soundtrack, if you can believe that. So with regards to the music, there's not really music in the game per se. It's more in key spots. Also between levels, you get a bit of music as well, which I like. I've talked about it before on the channel as well. It's not always a benefit to constantly have music playing in a running loop in the background while you're playing a game, and this is a prime example. So yeah, with regards to Quake 64, it is a fantastic port of the original Quake, and the remastered version runs in a high resolution, I believe 4K. There are some slight differences to the original Quake. You don't get the quote-unquote welcome to Quake intro. If anyone watches, you played the original Quake, you know how it starts off. You're in this room and you get to select which chapter you want to start off first. You don't get that in Quake 64, which is understandable because back in the day when this game came out, Midway was working in the the confines of hardware constraints of the N64. So as powerful as the N64 was back in the day, it was no match for what was available on the PC. You do get split screen deathmatch for 2 players, but it does suffer from heavy frame rate drops, or so they say. I haven't tried it. Weapon crosshairs, you get an exclusive deathmatch, the Court of Death on the N64. Again, like I said earlier, you have to play through the levels in a linear order. You can't choose a specific episode. Other than that, no 9 Inch Nails logo on the nail gun ammo boxes. And the nail gun and the Thunderbolt use different sound effects when they fire. But other than that, it's pretty much the same game. I found it was more difficult than the original. I had quite a bit of difficulty playing Quake 64. I had to use save states quite often. But other than that, I'm going to be brutally honest with you here, I enjoyed this more than the original Quake. And it all came down to the original soundtrack done by Aubrey Hodges and the spectacular lighting as well. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. I had a fantastic time playing through this one. Both Quake Remastered and Quake 64 are absolutely incredible. If you have not played either one, I highly recommend checking it out. But yeah, Quake 64 is no slouch. And it kind of makes me think about, if and when Analog releases a 64 console, if you will, an FPGA N64 console. I'm not a huge fan of the N64, but man, it would be really cool to pick up an Analog 64, we'll call it that, and to be able to pick up an original copy of Quake 64 and Doom 64. I think that would be pretty fucking epic if you ask me. So, yeah, no complaints whatsoever. Highly recommend playing this. It seems like every time I run a live stream of Quake or Doom, I get a couple of guys that are really excited to see me stream those games. I haven't had that much interactivity in the chat or excitement with any other streams over when I streamed Quake 64 and Doom 64, and that's awesome. It almost makes me kind of want to download Doom 3 on the PS4 just so that I can live stream it. So let me know if that interests you. Maybe I'll do that. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. Not much of a review. Just wanted to give you my quick hot take on what I thought of Quake 64. I'm sure, playing it on original N64 hardware would be a lot of fun. Playing it remastered with the perfect frame rate and using the CRT filter. I'm one of those gamers. I'm not big on filters in these old school retro games, but the CRT filter on Quake 64 was really, really good. Honestly, guys, it was awesome. So yeah, that's it for this video. Another game checked off the bucket list to end 2022. We're in the middle of a big storm right now up here in Ontario, Canada. I hope you guys are safe wherever you are. And again, happy holidays. Merry Christmas wherever you are. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.